Hey guys, Kinger here, bringing another video. Today's video is going to be about a team that doesn't require a counter attacker for my unkillable slash uh, block damage team that I showed you guys earlier. Now, this one's just complete block damage. There is no counter attacker required for it. The speeds are all the same as it was in my previous videos. The only difference is that Warcaster has taken over Skullcrown's position, so his speed is 243 in this comp. Um, this one's a little bit more challenging, and when I get into the gear here after I show you guys the run, you guys will see why it's a little bit more challenging, but uh, still capable of doing it. And out of the two, it's you pull shards to try to get a counter attack, and I'm sure the people who are sitting here going, I've been pulling forever and I still haven't got it. This one will be more obtainable at least than the other one. Um, and I'll show you guys that. So this is a video. My clan has not been able to get to Ultra Nightmare below 50% lately because we've lost a few members. So I've had to record it whenever I get a chance. Um, so the setup is the exact same. I put three poisoners in though this time because the three I was noticing with just like let's say Banshee and OB, I was not getting enough debuffs on the clan boss, so I was like, well, why not add another poisoner then? Because taking out Razin, the team was doing less damage than what this team was currently doing. Uh, so getting into some of the intricacies of the team and what you guys got to look for is this is affinity based team. It'll work on all affinities. I cannot do a spirit affinity because I have no block debuffs character. So Sepulcher, Sentinel is one. Mausoleum Mage I believe is another you could use to block debuffs. Duchess obviously. Problem with Duchess is the speed would throw your team off, so that wouldn't work as well. But nonetheless, like somebody who could do block debuffs. So if you don't have that person, because if you did have like a Sepulcher Sentinel, you could use them on all three affinities and block all these debuffs. So then you wouldn't have to worry about the problem that this team that I currently am running has to worry about, which is if I'm facing, in this case, Force Affinity, Magic Affinity are weak to it. So he will target Magic Affinity characters first. And I can't have him bashing Roshcard. If he bashes Roshcard, my team dies. So I need to have another Magic Affinity character there to block that from happening. So in this case, it's Banshee. Um, so you guys will start to see I'm about to hit auto right away. It's the same thing as before. Once you get to this point, you just hit auto and boom, you're good to go. Uh, you cannot the losing scenario where you can all of a sudden lose your team is if Roshguard or Warcaster get bashed. If they get bashed once, you're dead. So that's what I'm trying to prevent here with having Banshee or a weak affinity character facing um, the clan boss here. So the one thing I found very neat, and I'm hoping to show you guys, and maybe in my next video, if our client can get to it and we actually get the magic affinity, is OB is awesome to be the person that gets bashed because he will have 5 debuffs and you can use just hit auto and he will always use his like curse eater thing there and he'll get an extra turn, so it's like he's not even losing a turn even though he got bashed stunned in one of them. So I was actually shocked because I did it by mistake. So, and I'll show you guys that when I hit a Magic Affinity clan boss for my Ultra Nightmare team, and I actually don't mess it up. So, um, Nethral's just here for another poisoner because if I put a second Banshee in there, then she's just gonna weak hit and not do as much damage as my Nethral will. So. Other than that, Roshguard's 241 speed, and the poisoners can be anywhere, any of the speeds of 195, 193, 191. I actually think my Nethral's 194 in this run, so uh, I'm not sure how much you can play around with the speeds there, but that's the speeds I normally run at is 193. 191 and 195. So uh, I just find poison does the most damage when you go 50 turns. If you have a hard hitter, switch one of my poisoners with your hitting character. So other than that, there's not much to do. Other than just showing you guys the end screen because there's no point in making you sit here. The other thing before I get to the very end here is without a counterattack, this team goes so much faster. So uh, this team is only going to run for about 8 or 9 minutes compared to about 14, 15 minutes for, so as you guys can see here, just under 10. Uh, Compared to about 14, 15 minutes at least for my counterattack team that I guys showed you guys earlier. So it does do less damage, but at least this is, let's just say you missed the void, you can still do 3 keys. So that's the good thing about it. And this is without me tinkering too much with my teams or anything like that. So I'll show you, pause it here for you guys to see. Uh, there's OB who has or just over 14, almost 14.5 mil. You guys can see how low my Frozen Banshee is. One thing I would like to do is retest this team, but take out Frozen Banshee and just put a Magic Affinity character in there so that that's the one that's getting hit, but it does a lot more damage just with their basics. So maybe Tayrel or something. I'm not sure. I've been trying to think of that after I saw how low her damage was. So and Nethril, uh, I really wish Nethril just uses basics, so that then I wouldn't even need to use like Frozen Banshee or anything like that. Roshcard does less because he is a weak affinity, and Warcaster, he's only 46, but I mean these the two at the ends here are just there to protect everybody so you can get 50 turns in. So um, what I'll show you guys is my best run I've ever done with this team, or a variation of the team anyways, and this was against the Void team. Yeah, Void clan boss. So Ultra Nightmare 31.16. I just wanted to see how my team would do. So still 3 keys, but at least if you guys don't have a Skull Crusher or a counter attacker like that, you can get a Warcaster and then just throw them in here. Unfortunately, I do not know how to if you can use a certain nick or whatever, but to replace Roshcard, that would take a lot of testing because you got to make sure all your characters stay up, get their health back and everything too. So you might have to use a lot more like bleach characters or stuff like that to get that back on there. So, but just happy to find a team that you guys can use that doesn't need a counter attacker to get 2 to 3 keys, depending on how you gear them. So now we'll go back to, oops, wrong one. We'll go back to my team here, or my actual account. So the first thing I want to show you guys is Roshcard. So Roshcard's stuff hasn't changed. All very similar as it was before. If anything, it might have been a slight change here or there. So from my previous videos, nothing big though. Still 241 speed. I'd like to get his crit rate slightly up, but 233 crit damage is pretty cool. I didn't know I had it that high. HP is good for his A2 if you're trying to get that a little bit higher, but I'd more worry about his basic because you're always going to be hitting with that, so more often than you will with his A2. So his skills, only one I fully booked obviously was Zone of Protection. You need that fully booked for this team to work. If you can, try not to get this one fully booked because if you do, he's going to be using this more often, which means he's taking up a debuff spot because this cannot be resisted, so kind of sucks. And I would like to get this one more because I mean, any more damage is better, but it's not worth taking a chance again hitting this one. So masteries are, I'll show you guys the full tree here. Take anything in the defensive tree. I took this one because he should be the one who's never getting countered or stunned or anything, so this has a chance for him to counter. And this is just me trying to get as much damage out of the character as I can. So yeah, that's for Roshkar. For Warcaster, who's the newest one here. This is what I was talking about with a little bit about how it might be slightly hard for some people to get this right away. is that I kept him in lifesteal, and the reason for that is I don't want him ever to be take at especially at the beginning to take the chance of being hit and then him trying to get back up to 50% or above um, with uh, because if he's below 50%, there's always a chance he'll be the one who's being attacked, right? So uh, you can try it with just running speed sets and all that stuff, or other sets in general, and just to get the speed of 243, I think it is. Yeah, 244 I have it at. But you can run 243. And I just have it in. I wanted to do lifesteal to make sure it's safe. So if you can do it with that, that'll make it better. Um, so some of these rolls are a little bit high. I'll admit that, but some of them you can use glyphs to get it even higher. So like here's a 17, here's a 20, which is really good. So I'm not expecting you guys to have that. Here's a 16 for a shield, which is really good. But then right here with his gauntlets, or you could put anything here. You don't need to necessarily have crit rate, crit damage, defense, attack, or anything like that. You could just go with whatever you have that has a very high speed roll. If you have really good gloves, and just put them in there until you get better gloves. You know what I mean? So these are ways you can make up for it until you get better gear. Because like as you guys saw with Roshcard, I have two broken pieces. So this is where you can improve your team later on down the line, but get your team running so you guys can use it. Same here. I have an attack piece, but he only has 6 speed on it. So there's another spot you guys can make some ground back from for speed that I don't have. And then 45 speed. I mean, if you're doing Dragon 20 already, then you should probably, as you can tell, there's not really great stats on this, but you should be able to get 6-star boots eventually. So, uh, and then for his banner, I just found something that had speed, and then rolled it and it hit twice on it. So that's all you got to do. Don't worry about the main stat at first. Just try to get to 243, 244 speed, and then this team will work for you. For skills, this is why it took so long too, because I was trying to get epic books. I don't like buying books, so uh, block damage. You need to have that completely booked, so he gets to 4 turns. He's normally a 6 turn. And other than that, it doesn't really matter what you go on, but you can see that I pretty much almost booked everything else before I got my second book into here. So kind of sucked. I got the first book in here, and then I got the, what is it, the seventh or eighth book in there. So for this, same kind of reasoning. I added defense just to kind of make him sustain a little bit longer. But this is the only thing I really cared about was getting deterrence, so that because he shouldn't be the one getting stunned, so there's a chance for him to proc it and then go and hit the clan boss. So extra damage, right? And I don't think there's you don't want to take something like this where you have a chance to reduce your cooldowns because it'll throw everything out. So don't ever take that, please. And I mean, I could just throw this in here, but all your guys will die anyway. So at the same time, so that's not really gonna ever come into play. So, but I had the points, so why not use them? So yeah, that's Warcaster. My Nethril is. I really wish this character was better when he's on auto, but oh well. uh, Nothing too. This is I use him more in. Actually, he's really fun to use in arena, but um, I more use him in arena. But I just have him set up just in case I need something for the one of the affinities. So you guys can see his stats here. Um, Nothing too extravagant or out there with it. OB is he did change since that video, so I saw Ali play use a call brawler and that new mud tuck or whatever his name is. So I was trying to fiddle around with my occult brawler a bit here. So he does have slightly different gear they did at during that video I did. So and then I believe it was this banshee. Just a second here. Yes, it was that I was using. So 191 speed. Here's the stats for her. And I'll go back and I'll show you the other two. I kind of went through them kind of fast there. But Banshee actually I think is the MVP in most runs. She wasn't in this one because she took all the slams, but on my other runs it's amazing what she could do as a rare. So skills, the two you want to book up are these two here, the A1 and A3. Other than that, who cares? Because she'll never use her A2 in a clan boss team. For Occult Brawler, here's all his stats. Like to get this a little bit higher, same with his crit damage, but for now it's good enough. Um, also, his skills, you want to have both of these all the way booked up. You want his Curse Eater to be 3 turns for this to work on this team. So, and here's his masteries here. So that's him. And Nethril is, here's his masteries. I think that if not the same, pretty much the same. No, it's not the same because he has, what's it called? Giant Slayer. Other than that, it's pretty much the same. And then his skills is completely booked out. So he was actually my 3rd legendary. So I've had him for a long time. So, other than that, I'm going to keep testing this team. I'm hoping when we get the next 2 times Ancients, I get Sepulcher Sentinel. I think that's how you say her name anyways, because I got 50 or 81 sitting here, so I'm kind of waiting and hoping. But other than that, I just wanted to show you guys another thing. So my double Banshee team that I've shown you guys and some of you guys have watched, this is the best run I've ever had with her. I've changed their gear up to take them both out of lifesteal now, so it actually ended up giving me the best damage I have. I want to redo my Razin, but uh, we'll look at that later. But I don't know when or if I'll ever redo my Roshcard or Skullcrusher because it's just so annoying to get that speed up there when you're redoing, changing around gear. You're always like 2 off or 5 off or 5 too high or whatever. It's annoying. So, but yeah, that's the team, guys. I'm hoping that I can show you guys a bit more of them and whatnot. So just keep watching for videos, and until the next one, I'll see you later.